Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
Andy, let's start off by saying last time we had a chinwag was you were making a short notice fight on a Titan card against Bobby Cooper. Things have not went too bad since then, really, have they?
Not really. I kind of had a bad year getting fights after that. You know, I took the fight. I had a fight in February, and then I took the Bobby Cooper fight in short notice. And I wanted to try to fight five times last year, and it didn't work out. I only fought twice, and had three fights fall through. And one fight in May, July 3rd, the guy got injured the week of the fight and pulled out. And then a fight in August, the promotion had to cancel the show due to some personal issues with the promoter. So that's how my year went after taking a short notice fight with Bobby on, you know, a bigger card like Titan on CBS Sports Network. So other than that, the year started off good, but then it ended bad. So hopefully this year starts off with a bang with me, you know, coming out and banging with Paul Daley.
Well, I was going to say, it's not a bad way to start the year, having a main event on Bellator. It's a pretty good way to get going, isn't it, mate?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. I'm super stoked, super excited about it.
Now, obviously, Paul Daley is, you know, he's obviously a wrestler. He's just he's going to grapple you for 3 rounds now.
Yeah.
Well, with Paul Daley, you know what you're getting. You know what you're getting with Paul Daley, and obviously, I imagine, you know, you spoke with your coaches, you went over this, and you were like, look, we've got to obviously avoid his strongest weapon is his left hook. His left straight, even, you know, his left hand, really. His boxing is his strongest suit. You know, for me, if I was personally, you know, if I was matched up against Paul Daley, you know, my kind of instinct would want to be to grapple with him. You know, you'd want to gas those arms out, tire them out a bit more, get him up against the cage, work those underhooks, make him really just work those arms. You know, even get him, if you can get him to the ground, even better. I imagine your game plan is obviously to, you know, just keep that distance and be patient.
Yeah, man, no doubt. The game plan, you know, everybody has that kind of game plan for Paul Daley, so I know he's expecting me to come in like that. So, you know, I'm going to come in with a little bit different, kind of just adapt to his style and adapt to, you know, all the situations that can happen in the cage, because I don't want to go in there and just think, oh, I got to put him up against the cage and wear him out and do this or do that, you know, stuff that other people have done. You know, I've watched video on him and seen some kinks in his armor, and, you know, you see what he does good, see what he does bad, and, you know, you just kind of put it in your training regimen to where you got to work on your strengths and make sure that, you know, when I go in the cage, I'm going to, you know, implement my style and impose my will on him, just like he's going to try to do to me. So that's the badass thing about the fight game. You know, anything can happen, and, you know, I can come out there and knock him out with a left hook, just like he could come out and knock me out with a left hook.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't think he can come out and take me down and just out grapple or out wrestle me. So, you know, I feel like I've got the edge on, you know, the more rounded, and, you know, the more I'm more well rounded in all aspects. You know, he's really, really good at striking, but he's got a lot of kinks in his wrestling and his grappling and stuff like that. So, like I said, he's got really good hips off the cage and takedown defense, but, you know, once you get him on his back, his hips kind of go away from him, and he kind of looks like a fish out of water.
Yeah, that's us British people for you, where our wrestling is crap. That's the best way to put it, you know. Well, you look at, the best example would be Michael Bisping. He's been in the UFC for a long time, and it took him a long while to get his wrestling defense up to a good standard. And even then, when he gets to guys, when he fought like Tim Kennedy and stuff, it just, you know, it showed that his grappling was never going to be of a high enough level. You know, we that is our fundamental flaw in the grassroots area in the UK, where we don't have like your NCAA's, you know, level of kind of competition at high school. There's a couple of clubs around, but it's not like a sport in America in high school. It's a sport for us. You know, it's seasonal. Yeah. So we've got like, well, you call it soccer, rugby, track and field, and this stupid thing called cricket, which is absolute shite. But they have that's kind of like the kind of main ones here. So we're seriously lacking straight away then in that competitiveness with that wrestling, and it is a huge factor in the game of MMA.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm from the state of Nebraska, and that's all it is in Nebraska is wrestling and football. And I grew up doing it, and I wasn't real big in it. I didn't really like it, but it's a thing that you got to do, and especially in MMA, a wrestling background is very key to getting far and being successful.
It is, and especially I've noticed with certain wrestlers when they start to really apply themselves in the striking game, they have already got a lot of power already because of that wrestling background. Those fundamentals you learn from the wrestling with that foot, that explosive power when you're coming forward, it generates power in your fists without even putting too much effort in. It's already there.
Yeah, especially with the small gloves too. You get touched with those and has a little bit of power behind it. It's going to drop you for sure. Yeah. Then you just get put on the ground, and that's where the wrestler wants to be.
Yeah. I always think about Hendricks. When he John Fitch or Campman, and he just that kind of explosive, like dipping down and coming up, and he just flatlined people, and you went, "Yep, that's pretty much." If he wanted to go for a takedown, he would have had that projection to do it, and it's the same with when you apply to your striking. So obviously, when the match, when you match up, we get a match up with Paul Daley. Your training camp, I imagine, have you brought boxers in specifically then, just to kind of get used to that kind of output that boxers can do and that kind of striking, or is that something you've been working on?
I mean, I've got, there's a lot of different types of fighters and training partners that I have at my gym here in Memphis, at Memphis Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, and it's just, you just got to bring the aspect of what Paul Daley does and kind of just put it in your training camp. I've got a lot of guys that I've trained with that are good strikers and heavy hitters and good wrestlers and all that. So, I feel like I would rather fight a really good striker than a really good wrestler. I fought Nate Coy, and he's a damn good wrestler. And I mean that grinding of a fight when you have a wrestler on top of you and you can't move or anything like that, man. That's a grind fight, and it sucks, man. And if you're on the other end of that, it's definitely a lot better. So that's where I'm looking at.
Well, being on top is a lot better than being on the bottom, unless you're Damian Maia, and he probably doesn't care where he is.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Unless he's getting beat up.
yeah, he just get on you anyway. He'll get on top of it, just doing some absolutely amazing transition. He's beautiful to watch. Anytime he fights, I just wish the fights when he has an MMA bout, I just wish he'd start on the ground straight away. I don't want to see him strike. I just want to see him on the ground. I just want to see him get on the ground. We'll start on half guard. Let's go. We'll see what happens there. His
stand-up game isn't near his grappling game. So
no.
That's the thing. Every fight starts on the feet. So if you're a grappler, you got to figure out how to get it clinched and get it to the ground.
That's the thing. Yeah, with Paul Daley, it's if you want to get him down, you've got to think, right, I've got to get through his combinations. He's going to have counters ready to possibly stop a takedown. So it is something you've got to think about. You've got to set it all up properly. You've got to disguise it. You've got to mask it. It is an art form in itself. Nowadays it seems. I think takedowns, they have taken on a different... They've evolved differently in MMA where, back, let's say 5-8 years ago maybe, guys would be able to shoot in for the takedown pretty openly, and generally they'd probably get it. But nowadays it's very much a game of setting up with the strikes. You've got to throw certain combinations to get your opponents so bewildered by the striking that they can't see the takedown coming.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a lot of timing and angles and different things now. Everybody's evolving so much, and there's so many. Everybody's training everything. You don't got guys that are just training karate or striking or Muay Thai anymore. Everybody's, if you're wanting to be a good mixed martial artist and you want to, make some money and make some noise in the game, you gotta go do your jiu-jitsu, you gotta do your wrestling, your strength conditioning. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects, and you have to drill it all every day.
Yeah, you do, mate. It's beautiful the way the sport has to evolve all the time, because it just keeps people on their toes if they want to be pushing themselves in the game. And the matchup you've got against Paul Daley, I suppose it's nice working with Scott Coker again, is it?
Oh yeah, man! I fought for Strikeforce back in Nashville, Tennessee, when Dan Henderson and King Mo and all those guys fought on the card, and Scott Coker was running Strikeforce. And I worked with Bellator, when Rebney was there, and did the Fight Master and everything like that. And I feel like Scott Coker knows what he's doing and knows where he wanted to take Bellator, and working well, with Spike TV and everything like that to get it to where it's at right now. They're competing with the UFC, but they're also, they might not be as big as UFC mainstream wise, but they're doing different aspects and bringing in different alternatives. They're letting the guys bring out their personalities and kind of bringing back that Pride era into Bellator, and that's what a lot of the hardcore fans like to see, is the fighters' personalities and the big screens and the awesome walkouts and all that stuff. You got to make the show entertainment with not just an entertaining fight, but you also have to make it entertaining with the personalities and all the showmanship and all the show entertainment of the promotion. So I like where they're going with it.
Yeah, it's nice to see that he's obviously taken all the bits from Strikeforce that he felt worked, the things that he felt clicked right, and he's taken them all on, and he's just implementing them slowly into Bellator. Because Strikeforce was a huge success. It was a fantastic promotion. It was great, and it would be daft of him to not take bits from there and implement them into Bellator. The next thing I would like to see is possibly like a rebranding of Bellator. I'd like to see Scott Coker do next. It's not that I think there's anything wrong with it. I just think it'd be nice if he maybe did a rebranding so it's his own thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying for sure. And like you said, that how successful Strikeforce was. Look at all the champions in UFC. You got Luke Rockhold and Robbie Lawler, and a lot of the guys that are champs in UFC were champs in Strikeforce. And Dana White said that no Strikeforce guys would ever come over to UFC and dominate like they are. And well, we're seeing it happen.
Yeah, Daniel Cormier as well.
Yeah, there you go. There's another one.
Verdum. He got dropped by the UFC.
Yeah,
went to Strikeforce.
Yeah. I mean, heavyweight champ, and he's one of your top pound for pound fighters in the world now, and reigns supreme.
It's insane. It's crazy. The matchup against your match with Paul Daley. If you think about it, if you go in there and let's say you put on a finish, whether you stop him with strikes or you stop him on the ground with a submission or even on the feet with a submission, it could potentially put you in line for talks of being a contender for the welterweight title, don't you think?
I mean, yeah, everybody's saying that, just because of the name of, the Paul Daley and his experience and what they're trying to build him up and getting his rematch with Koscheck and everything like that. I'm looking at fighting Daley and going out there and win or lose, I'm going to put on a show and, get invited back, create some more fans. And, if I win, if Bellator wants to put me in a title shot mix, then put me in the title shot mix. If they want to match me up with Koscheck, match me up with Koscheck. I'm just going to move on to the next step of the ladder. Like I said, I've been doing it for 10 years. Any opportunity I get, I'm going to knock on the door, open it up, and kick ass.
Well, I don't think it's because of Paul Daley's name. Paul Daley's talked about, wanting to fight for the title, and he's been racking up the wins. So I already see him as a perennial contender anyway. So, I think if you do get I think if it goes to a decision, you can still put yourself as a challenger. I think if you finish the fight, it puts more of a stamp. It puts more of a wave. It throws a wave through the welterweight division, saying, I'm here. I'm not here to fuck around, and I'm here to cause damage. I'm here to cause problems, and I think that's probably what projects fighters up the ladder, so to speak, a bit quicker when you put the finishers on. It's the same with every promotion, I believe, anyway.
Yeah, you're right, and that's what anybody's going to go out to do. If the opportunity arises, I'm going to be there to kick it open and kick ass, take names.
That's what it's all about, man, isn't it? And exactly, and Bellator, are starting to slowly bring in, like Scott Coker, let's say. I won't say Bellator, sorry. I'll say Scott Coker. He's slowly, when he first took over, he did a load of cuts, and he's starting to slowly bring in names and faces. And like you say, he's starting to want to build their personalities, and it's just a progression. It's a slow progression, and he's doing the right speed. He's not rushing it too quickly. And I tell you what, he's giving guys a chance to get in there and have a stab and make a name for themselves. And hey, man, you've got a great chance to do that against Paul Daley.
Yeah, no doubt. That's what I'm trying to take this opportunity to the next level. Not a lot of people know who I am. A lot of people know who Daley is. I'm not really a household name. A lot of people, read on forums and stuff saying, it's a cupcake matchup. Why don't they just match Daley and Koscheck up? Why are they, matching them up on the same card but not fighting each other and all this and that? But coming from me, there's guys out there just like me. I'm very, I'm very confident. I'm very well rounded. I feel like I'm a good fighter. I feel like I'm supposed to be on this level and on this stage, but I haven't been given this opportunity, and now been given this opportunity, and I'm gonna make the best of it. And yeah, go out there and get a big finish. Then everybody's gonna know who I am. I'll be a household name, and then I'll be right there in the mix of Bellator and try to go for that gold and bring it home, bring it back to Memphis.
Yeah, that is the thing about that. Like you say, it's people. You will statistically be seen as an underdog, but the thing is, people who don't follow MMA enough outside of, let's say, even forget Bellator, people don't follow MMA outside of UFC, they won't really know MMA names too much. Obviously, I came across you, like I said before, from the Titan card and stuff like that, and it's one of them ones where, like you say, you've fought before in the big bright lights. You've been there before. It's not like this is a new thing for you fighting on a big stage. It's obviously a nice opportunity that you've got. That's the difference. The only difference is the win gives a lot more opportunities possibly than any other win has done before.
Yeah, and that's due to the opponent.
Yeah.
Paul Daley's a good opponent, and he's a great name, and I take him out. Yeah, it's just gonna blow me up, and instead of taking the next step on the ladder, which I'm always just gonna go one step at a time. But like you said, I beat Daley. It's just gonna move me up multiple steps on that ladder, and bring my name out there to where people will know who I am. Finally, I've been doing it a long time. I've been doing this almost 10 years now.
Look, I can definitely see fireworks going off. Look, for people who's got a UFC Fight Pass, and I think you might be able to find your fight with Bobby Cooper on there via Titan FC, because I think the history's on there anyway, so you might be able to find that. I'm not sure if that was pre-UFC Fight Pass deal, so I'm not sure if it's on there yet. But there are other fights on.
It was before the Fight Pass.
Yeah, it might not be on there yet. But I tell you what, you can do. You can probably go on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, and look at some of Andy's previous bouts, because YouTube is great for putting on fights that shouldn't be on there. Great stuff. People put them on there when they're probably breaking copyright rules, but I love that they do that. So it means I get to watch more fighting. So yeah, you can probably check out Andy's fights before he fights Paul Daley to get an idea of what's going to be going down there, so you get an idea of what you're watching. And also, if you're like a little geek like me, it's good. It's a good little thing to do. Look, before you do shoot off, my friend, how about you give ladies and gentlemen at home your social network and stuff so they can start to follow you now, man?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Stunner Uhrich, and then follow me on Instagram at Stunner MMA.
There you go, ladies and
then
gentlemen.
I'm also on Facebook too. Andy Stunner Uhrich on Facebook.
Jump on, give him a follow, give him a bit of backing, give it going in. And watch his progression in the Bellator rankings, let's say, for a stab at that lovely shiny belt that they've got on offer. And Andy, what about any sponsors here at the moment backing you up?
Yeah, man, I got a good sponsor at Vaporfy, Hayabusa, Fightwear. I want to say thanks for supporting me throughout this fight camp for that, giving me good gear, and Vaporfy keeping stuff in my. Keeping the support going. Ramsey Shadows Tattoos here in Memphis. I just got a new leg tattoo from them here 3 weeks ago, and I'll be getting it finished after this fight. So shout out to them. They're probably the best tattoo artists, definitely that I've ever been around or ever seen. They got some awesome work out there. My wife Jessica, she's my nutritionist. She keeps me fed and keeps me going strong. All my training partners at Memphis Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, all the guys that are coming out this weekend fighting at World Series of Fighting here in Memphis. I got a crew of guys fighting. Teddy Holder, one of my main training partner, he's fighting in the main event. Joe Pass, he's one of my best friends. He's been through a lot with me through my whole career. He's always in my corner. He's always out fighting out with me. Anywhere I go, he's right there, taking care of what needs to be taken care of while I'm trying to get my weight down and get my mind ready for the fight.
I remember you said.
Everybody just.
Sorry, go on, Andy. Sorry, mate. Sorry to interrupt there. I was going to say, I remember you mentioning about your wife cooking your meals last time we were speaking. It seems that she's keeping you in check still.
Yeah, and she's getting better and better. You know, she learns. You know, she didn't go to school for nutrition or anything like that. She's actually she does cancer and epidemiology research at St. Jude Research Hospital here in Memphis. But she learns all the time. She's always reading and, you know, knows what I need to eat and what I don't need to eat, you know, because a lot of people don't understand the way fighters and athletes need to eat. You know, you got to eat to perform. I got to have food to give me energy. And a lot of people ask what I eat and how I lose the weight so easily. And like, man, you eat all that kind of stuff and you're still losing that much weight. I said, yeah, because I got to eat to perform, you know. I got to have carbs. And got to have all this good stuff. I can't just not give my body what it needs.
Yeah.
But she keeps it new and keeps a bunch of different stuff coming in, so nothing gets bland and nothing gets old.
Good. So that sounds awesome, man. That's great teamwork, you know. It's beautiful to hear. It's beautiful to hear that it's still evolving, my friend. Was there anyone else, anything else you want to give a shout out to before we shoot off?
No, man, I think I've covered it all.
Okay, awesome. Look, man, have a great weekend. You know, there's going to be a lot of coverage on this. There's going to be a lot of people keeping eyes on it. Man, have a great weekend, dude. It's going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Y'all do the same. Y'all have a good weekend and get through that storm.
Oh, we will, dude. Thanks very much, man.
All right, y'all.